Hey everyone, and welcome to what is effectively our second Towerlight podcast. Unfortunately, last week we had some technical difficulties with the camera, so
you didn't get to see me gloat about Percy Harving because I was correct about all that.
Yeah,
it was great. You really missed a show there.
Maybe one day we'll be able to do like the lost Towerlight episodes when I'm like 35.
Oh, and then they'll see the one video that Matt and I had laughing the whole time trying to talk about intramural sports.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That was a great one.
Oh boy, Lauren Tannehill! Shout out to Lauren Tannehill, spread formation.
We were 1-3.
Going ham.
So today we're going to discuss two things. Well, first of all, we're going to talk about the changes to the All-Star Skills Competition, which apparently no one besides me knew about. So we'll discuss that and try to spread the knowledge to everyone. And then we're also going to talk about the collegiate football player who came out as gay. Obviously, big news in the sporting world. I'll have some things to say about whether or not it should be big news. Yeah. So I guess first off, though, we can talk about the less serious stuff before we get a little bit too emotionally heavy here. With the changes to the All-Star competitions. So obviously, since Matt came in here, not knowing that there were changes.
Let's break it down first.
Well, I'm pretty emotional about this. Like, I can't believe you didn't tell me.
He just thought that it was big news. It is big news, though, that Anthony Davis got in now that Kobe dropped out. So I'm pretty happy about that. But to bring
and his eyebrow.
So the new format now, start off with the dunk contest. It's going to switch to an East versus West format. So now, instead of having all these dunkers going and then one getting eliminated at a time, things of that nature, there's just going to be two teams in the East and West. The East is Damian Lillard, John Wall, and Paul George. And the West is
Damian Lillard is not.
I was going to say,
There's no possible way.
Terrence Ross.
That's embarrassing.
Right?
That's embarrassing. And then in West we have Damian Lillard, Ben McLemore, and who am I missing? Apparently we have forgotten the third person who's supposed to be in the West. But you can trust us that there will be three people in each conference competing. The new format now is that in the first round it's going to be a freestyle competition between the two conferences. And each conference is going to get 90 seconds to throw down as many dunks as they possibly can. So, for example, you could have John Wall go up for, jump over a Kia and then have Paul George come in with a 360 from the foul line. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. And then in the second round, the winner of the freestyle competition, also keep in mind that no longer are the judges going to be holding up the scorecards that say Sprite and then a number. They're only going to hold up a sign that either says East or West. So, hypothetically speaking, if the East wins this freestyle round, based on the judges voting, then they'll get to do they get to call out people, I guess, for the second round, which is elimination round. There's some other name for it.
They choose They choose who goes first or second.
Yeah. So hypothetically speaking, if the East wins the freestyle competition, then John Wall could say that he wants to take on Ben McLemore, and then they would have a dunk off, and then the judges would vote on which dunker was better. Then the first conference to win 3 of those matchups wins the dunk contest. Then, on Twitter, Twitter, Facebook, texting, all of those social media platforms, fans will be able to vote for who they think was the dunker of the night. And it won't be on like an aggregate score or anything like that. It'll just be whoever gets the highest number of votes. So essentially that'll be a popularity contest. And you have to think that if the East wins, Paul George will probably win anyways.
Oh, let's have some faith in John Wall now.
Yeah. I mean, I said it's a popularity contest, though. Unless Wall, throws out some silly dunks, I don't see him, people are just going to be like, oh, Paul George, he was good, right? So, I don't know.
I get John Wall was the man at Kentucky.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah, he was pretty good.
Then we have, I guess we'll talk about our opinions after the whole recap. So, we also have changes in the skills competitions, where now it's going to be based on teams. I have no idea who the teams are off the top of my head. And they'll be competing in pairs of 2 instead of like it used to be when it would be a singular person competing the obstacle course. Then they also have changes to the 3-point contest, which will essentially be the same in the past, but now there'll be like an extra or a special money ball, and I think it's going to be a rack of 10, and they can put that rack wherever.
I thought it was just they have a full rack of the 5 balls, and they can place.
Oh, is it 5?
Yeah, okay. They have the full rack of money balls. Like there's normally a money ball at the end of each rack. You get a full rack of those. And you can place them basically wherever you want. So you can start out with a full rack of money balls and try to get your score up really quick. A strategy thing, we'll get into the opinions.
Well, and it's where your hot zone is, to be honest. Like, Bradley Beal will probably pick his somewhere toward the top. I'm assuming. He's not really a corner 3 kind of guy.
If he has John Wall giving him the assist,
Yeah, that's
which
true.
not in the contest, but
So those are the changes that I can think of. Oh, and then there's also that one contest that I can never think of the name of, but it has like the current player teamed up with like their parent, and like Steph Curry and Del Curry are on a team with a WNBA player. So, Dominique Wilkins I think is going to be in it.
no, it's Karl Malone, Kevin Durant, and someone from WNBA.
Yeah, but I think there's like some older players mixed in there too.
Oh, yeah, they're usually on more than 2 teams. I just saw the 2 teams, those 2 teams.
Yeah, I think Nick might be one of them. So we're really knowledgeable about the participants and
As you can
Harrison
see-
Barnes is the last participant.
Oh, there we go.
Breaking the news.
Okay.
Harrison Barnes of the Warriors, right? Yeah, the Warriors.
yeah, the Warriors.
See, I knew it was a team in yellow.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, well, that counts for something. Yeah.
Most
So,
people I hate,
yeah.
so there you go.
So essentially, this is just the NBA trying to make the skills competition night, or whatever they call it. It's the State Farm
Saturday event.
Yeah, the Saturday events essentially before the Sunday All-Star game. It's actually just the NBA trying to get in more viewers, make it more exciting. So Jesse, I know you don't like the changes, so you can start.
Well, I actually do like the 3-point changes.
Yeah.
I think the strategy involved will be very good, and it'll be interesting to see how people do. Skills competition, I don't really have a strong opinion. I guess when I read it and how it was explained, I guess I kind of have to watch it unfold, so I'll just delay my opinion on that until afterwards. Dunk contest is terrible, though. It's awful.
Yeah.
Changes are awful in the dunk contest.
Is that all you had to say?
Well, I didn't know if you were going to agree.
Well,
well, I totally agree. I'm
going to
gonna
disagree, so I'll let you guys go first.
Okay, well, this whole 90-second freestyle thing, I don't want to see them do a bunch of dunks.
Yeah, like-
I want to see them
Hold
do
on.
one crazy dunk, not a whole bunch
Yeah.
of dunks within 90 seconds. You can't get the props, you can't have the 12-foot hoop, unless you have guys just running on the court and all this stuff. I want to see a very well-thought-out, well-planned dunk, which I guess they can do in the later round. But, no, I don't like this whole 90 seconds. You're going to see, like, some boring windmills, boring stuff in 90 seconds. They're going to be rushing to get some dunks off.
I don't get it. Was the format before that weird?
Yes.
It was just such a. It was like, you know what? We're gonna bring eight people.
8, I think.
Yeah, bring 8 people together, and then we have a round of 4 people, and then we'll have the finals with 2 people. It was so easy.
Oh, and you had scores, so you knew
Yeah.
what you had to beat.
And
Now
those-
it's like, oh,
those signs were the
East,
best.
West.
They had the celebrities come on, whip out the 10s,
Magic
and everyone
Johnson.
knew that it was a perfect dunk when you whip out that 10 sign. And now it's like, well, East? Does that mean, like, was
So,
it a 9?
How
it a
was
10?
my dunk actually?
Yeah, like, just because the East won doesn't mean they're getting all 10s. And like, why are we having conference winners? Who cares what conference is
Yeah.
better at dunking? We want to know who the best dunker is. NBA, Adam Silver. I like, what is that?
yeah, Adam Silver, you're already making a wrong impression of
Yeah,
us.
David Stern did it better, man.
Hashtag thanks Silver. We should start that as a thing. So, to counter your guys' arguments, I do think that there is an improvement that could be made, and that they should make it like the NHL or what the NFL tried to do, and have it be like a fantasy draft. So have like a captain of the East dunk team pick like 2 other guys to play with, like hand-pick 2 other guys.
Well, then
that
it
can be
wouldn't-
from any conference.
Then it wouldn't be like East versus West.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But you could, I like the team aspect here and the order that it's going to go in, but have a team George versus a team Lillard or something like that. I think that would be a little bit more interesting. But I think the old dunk contest, I know I'm going to sound like a first world problems typical American, but the last couple dunk contests has been kind of boring.
Well, okay, but that's not going to change with a new format. It's just they're running out of cool dunks.
No, but I love the thought of like Paul George and John Wall and Terrence Ross like going into somebody's high school gym to come up with like choreography for dunks. You just
Okay,
don't.
I know but they're still going to run out of ideas. Like
But
that was why it was boring. It wasn't the format. It was they just ran out of ideas.
and the other
Like,
thing
they're blowing
is you
candles
don't
out
have
of
the
cupcakes.
yeah, but now you don't have the
That was a
delay
good one.
of
What was it? Gerald Green who blew the candle?
Yeah.
yeah.
That was a good one. I like
You don't have the delay of somebody going up, missing a dunk, then dribbling all the way back, and then trying over again. John Wall goes up for a dunk and he misses it, then 3 seconds later you have Paul George coming behind him and doing something else.
Well, I'd rather see them attempt multiple attempts at an insane dunk than watching boring windmills and
Yeah.
stuff I see during games.
Yeah, we see that in the All-Star game. It's just going to be a dunk fest anyway, you know? You have the innovator of dunks, Vince Carter, doing the Vince Carter. Then you had Jason Richardson in the early 2000s. The only reason I knew him was because he was a dunker. I mean, he shot 3-pointers well, but it was just like, they're taking away from these planned dunks that made a name for like Vince Carter. Well, Vince Carter was good, but they have a dunk called the Vince Carter. You're not going to see that in the freestyle. They're not going to patent a dunk in the 90-second freestyle. Well, I guess they could. You're right. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm a little cynical because I want to see, like Jesse does, the planned out, well thought out dunks. That's all I have to say about that.
You don't want to see them jump over the hood of a car and say they jumped over an entire car when it's just a car that's lowered over the hood, which I could jump over.
Sure.
With a running start.
Sure you could.
Overrated. It was very overrated.
I do think that dunk was overrated.
Yeah. JaVale McGee dunked 2 balls in the same hoop. Let's be real. Come on.
JaVale McGee.
Come on.
Okay, so to get onto a more serious subject, you guys obviously want to talk about the player from Missouri who came out as gay. I'm going to write an ed desk for Wednesday's issue about how I really don't think it should be a story, to be honest. I think that we live in a time now where somebody's sexual orientation should be considered the same as their skin color or their ethnic background. Obviously, like I've written about this before, and I'm a big supporter of same-sex marriage. It's not really a secret. But what do you guys think of some of the comments that have come out since then of NFL GMs saying that it might hurt his draft stock or that they would be kind of reluctant to draft him? Because he's going into the draft, so he could potentially be the first openly gay NFL player.
They need to grow up. Pretty much. We're at a different time than maybe rural Indiana where they were born working on a farm being racist. I don't know. Like, they're very, very conservative growing up. I have no problem with whatsoever. Honestly, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
It's great for him, and he'll be a role model for other people that are trying to come out of the closet, but I could care less. Like, good for him. And a lot of people are saying if he helps us in the locker room, who cares? Like, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He didn't want rumors flying around and all this stuff, so he's like, all right, this is me, but I'm going to win you football games. And any GM or draft analyst or whatever that's like, oh, this is going to hurt his draft stock, you need to grow up. And because when he gets on the field, if he falls like the 6th round and he's killing it, like a Tom Brady, not saying he's going to be like a Tom Brady, but if he kills it after falling that far just because he's gay, well, then they're all idiots and should be fired for passing up on him.
Yeah, the idea of it hurting his draft stock, I think, is for the most part really, really stupid and indicative, if it happens, of how awful NFL GMs are, whoever's not drafting him. I will give him a little bit of credit. It's almost like it will be almost like a Tim Tebow effect, unless he's really good. If he's really good, his ability will outweigh the attention that he'll get. But some teams, I could see them worrying about the media day circus that he'll get by coming. But at the same time, you're drafting a football player. It doesn't matter who you like. It doesn't matter what's going on. You're drafting him because he's good at football. I mean, he's a good person for all I know. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but like, you're drafting someone not because of their sexual orientation or anything like that. You're drafting them for football. So if he can perform on the field and off the field for you, there's no reason why you shouldn't draft him. And I mean, eventually it won't be a big deal. It is a big deal. I wish it wasn't a big deal. Like, I read Twitter, he announces that he's gay. Like, it's some, like, huge thing that he's announcing. It's like, I like women. I'm not announcing that. I've liked women forever. It's not a big deal.
So can we get that trending, please, on Twitter?
I like women, okay.
Hashtag Matt Hamilton loves women.
I finally said it. I like women. But, like, that's what I mean. Like, we're just joking about it here. It shouldn't be a big deal. Just say you're gay and then move on. But for some reason, they have to announce.
Or should you even? I don't even think you should have to. I understand that there's I understand that there's a rule in interviews about GMs not being able to explicitly ask about their sexual orientation, but there's ways to get around it. Like, there are stories about GMs saying, like, do you have a girlfriend? When was the last time you had a girlfriend? How long have you been dating her? Trying to ask questions like that to still try to find out, which, to me, I don't even understand why those are valid questions. I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's pointless.
But I do. The only thing that I would say that is hopeful for the situation is that if you kind of look at what happened with Manti Te'o, like, it was a really big thing with the media when the whole fake girlfriend thing. But once he started to play football, it like disappeared within like the first 2 or 3 weeks of the NFL season. So yeah. I'm hoping that this kind of takes a similar path, that if
That was also a little different, though. He was on national media,
Yeah.
knew what he was saying, and was just trying to get attention.
yeah,
And, like, made up a whole lie. Where this guy's just like, look, I like men. I like to play football. I'm a football player. I just don't like women. I like men.
yeah. I'm not trying to draw parallels
I
in
know
the
what you're saying.
situation,
I was
but I'm just saying, like, that's just how the 24-hour media news cycle works now.
Yep.
Especially, I'm looking at you, ESPN. That's just how they work now. Is that they take a story, they chew it up, and they spit it out within 21 days. I feel like.
For the most part, yeah. They'll come back to it if it, like, say they're covering a game that he's in. One of the first things they'll say is, well, here's, what's his, Michael Sam? Is that his name? Here's Michael Sam, the first openly gay football player. And it's like, well, how does that affect the game at all? Like, it doesn't, like, he's gay and he's going to go out and tackle some people. Like, it doesn't matter. That's my problem. Like you said, you don't even need to say it, which is true. I mean, we'll get to a point eventually where they're just open and no one cares. Like, when I walk in the door, you don't look at me and say, Matt, he's straight. You say, Matt, he's whatever.
Or broadcasters now don't say, like, oh, here goes Michael Vick, a black quarterback. Like, that's just not something that you point out.
Also, if GMs were always saying his draft stock is going to fall because he came out as gay, like, you're going to let a guy who was the co-SEC Defensive Player of the Year fall because he doesn't like the same gender as you?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
I'm surprised that the SEC Defensive Player of the Year is a 3rd to 5th round pick. That's just weird to me. But
So they're saying his size, but...
yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
But they were saying that before this announcement, so you can't really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That, but I'm saying
he is like a
he's going to
smaller-
fall lower than that
Yeah.
because he likes men, even though he was one of the top conference's co-defensive player of the year. Like,
Yeah. He had 11.
Grow
He
up.
almost had 12 sacks. He had 11 and a half.
yeah, grow up. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think we could probably end on that note, especially so we don't run into any more technical difficulties with the camera that we're working on. So hopefully everyone stays safe in the snow this week. You can expect your tower light hopefully on stands by tomorrow. Well, we're filming this on Tuesday. Not sure when it's going to go up, but you can expect your tower light on stands Wednesday afternoon. We'll be putting the paper out tonight, so as to avoid the weather. So you can look forward to that, and I guess we'll talk to you guys next week.